I'm Laura Flanders. Today on the show, author, activist Arundhati Roy debunks the myths surrounding Mahatma Gandhi, and reporter Glenn Greenwald of The Intercept talks about the corporate power behind the national security state. All that and a commentary from me coming up right here on The Laura Flanders Show. India. To a lot of people, all they're familiar with is one person, Mahatma Gandhi. Well, that's not enough as far as our next guest is concerned. Not enough to understand either the nation of India's past or its present. Arundhati Roy is the author of, among other things, The God of Small Things. She's written a new introduction to an 80-year-old book, Annihilation of Caste by B.R. Ambedkar.
Go.
Talk about
Left 5, continue to 100, over bump. Right 6, bump dip. Caution slowing, into right 5, into hairpin right.
Let's start with the text. It's been said that Annihilation of Caste is the most widely read
into left 5, 60, keep right over crest. Left 6, dip.
The book that you're holding.
Caution right 6, 80. Acute left 60.
It's actually the text of an 80-year-old speech that was delivered by Dr. Ambedkar,
Left 6.
who in India is a very, very beloved man among
Into right 4 long, 60. Right 3, don't cut.
And
Into left 4.
it was a speech that he was
To
supposed
right
to
3
give in
tights to 2, 60.
1926. And the organization, which was a sort of privileged caste,
Left 4, into left 4, into acute right.
Amongst the Dalits, the untouchables, of course, the opposite of the Hollywood movie of untouchables, and
Into hairpin
trying
left.
to prevent them from converting to other religions in this status quo caste. But it was a very
Left 6, half
political
long.
game going on at the time. They
Stay
asked
mid over
Ambedkar
crest
to
past
give
junction.
the text of the
Left 4.
speech.
Right 3 long, keep in. To left 2 long through dip, crest. Into right 5. Into right 1 late.
I use that word because he uses it, to convert to other religions. And so they just disinvited him. And this text he published himself in 1936. But subsequently, you know, it's the most read because Dalit presses have reproduced it. The Maharashtra government, you know, initially claimed that it has all the rights to Ambedkar's work, but you can't buy it in a normal bookshop. You know, it's a kind of underground classic, and it shows how there is a kind of lack of communication, a complete breakdown of communication between the privileged caste of India and the others, you know. So even the books don't, and he actually had written it to address a privileged caste audience, and they have kind of invisibilized it.
You talk about the invisibilizing of even the debates that took place at that time between Ambedkar and Gandhi. The
Turn
whole
left 2.
book is not about that, but your introduction
You square right.
touches on it. Can you, for our U.S. audience, just kind of summarize briefly, and then we'll take a little bit more
Left 5 tight.
mythology?
Into right 6.
Well, actually, when Ambedkar published Annihilation of Caste, you know, he said that he wasn't even, I mean, he just considered the Hindu right wing beyond the pale, you know, the kind of people who are in power in India today. So his debate was with those who considered themselves moderate Hindus, and he said that a religion that whose sacred texts sanctified the idea of caste sanctified this kind of hierarchy, sanctified the idea that at the time 44 million and today 100 million people could be considered polluting and impure. He denounced that religion. He said you cannot be moderate and believe in those texts. And the person who the world believes to be the greatest living Hindu, Mahatma Gandhi, replied. Ambedkar replied, all that's contained in this book. So when I started to write the introduction, I started looking at this debate. And I just began to get really puzzled about the thing. Gandhi was saying that caste is the most genius thing and it was the best part of Hinduism. And, of course the world thinks that he fought against caste. Right. But what he did was he supported caste. But he fought against the idea of untouchability, which was the performative end of caste.
So you could keep the structure without the behavior?
Exactly. That he didn't question entitlement. He believed that ancestral, because caste is essentially about entitlement and about ancestral limitation. That a person whose caste says that they should what Gandhi kept calling scavengers. Whose job it is to carry human should remain that, should think of it as a divine privilege. And today's Prime Minister Narendra Modi
acute left, 60.
It's also complicated between this theories about caste and these things about race and this orientation towards religion.
Into right 4 long, 60. Right 3 don't cut.
It will be distressing for people in the black community who have been taught to valorize
into right 3 times 260.
But the fact is that all of us
left 4 into left 4 into acute right. Into hairpin left.
And in fact, Gandhi believed in racial segregation. His first victory in South Africa was to campaign for a third entrance to be opened in the Durban post office. So Indians
junction.
And all my analysis, by the way, is not my analysis. I've just reproduced his own writings and his own. So there's no interpretation in it. And he calls them savages and of course we could say, but he changed, but he did not change, Only, he partnered with the British in the Boer War to tighten imperialism in South Africa. He partnered with the British in the very, very brutal put down of the Zulu
Right 1.
When he was campaigning later,
turn left 1 past junction.
Life in South Africa, and was 99%. Was not even campaigning for the rights of the Indian indentured labor who were of the lower caste, of the subordinate caste. He was campaigning for the rights of Indian businessmen to be allowed into the Transvaal to compete with British trade.
As the saint of the status quo. Where does come from, and why is this important to take on now? I mean, you've taken on a lot of controversial topics in your life. Did you need to take on Gandhi?
I mean, I really think, how can you know these things and then allow the idea of, in a way, the idea of India, and in a way, he's known as the, I suppose he's the most saintly modern person, invoked all the time. And when you see this, is there a good time or a bad time to do it, But the point is that what I am talking about is the fact that caste in India, unlike race, unlike apartheid, unlike sexism, unlike perhaps we haven't won this battle, but certainly we've come under international. Whereas caste, where there was all the protests for the murder of the girl in the bus, but that year 1,500 Dalit women were raped by upper caste men. that year 651
Into
Dalits
right
were
4 long,
murdered.
60.
You know, many of them lynched.
Right
They are
3, don't
still
cut.
making sure they're still not allowed,
Into left 4.
into the space of
To right 3
the
times to 2,
so-called
60.
privileged caste. So caste has not gone away. It's not.
Left 4.
It's just that
Into
people
left 4.
associate it with
To
Gandhi
acute
and
right.
yoga and vegetarianism, and underneath that, Indian, even Indian liberal
Into hairpin
left-leaning
left.
intellectuals have invisibilized it. And there has been a very distressing misrepresentation of history by the court historians.
Stay mid over
And
crest past
it
junction.
is
Left 4.
a scandal that's basically given in plain
Right
sight.
3 long,
You
keep
talk
in.
about Gandhi's own
To left 2
programs
long,
as
dip,
having
crest.
disabled,
Into right 5.
debilitated
Into right 1
millions
late.
of political
Turn left
imaginations
2.
with this bar of
Into
purity
square right.
set so high. Do you think
So
about that a little?
low.
Okay, well,
I
talk
think
about
it's
that
such
a little.
Left 5 tight.
well,
right
when
6.
Gandhi was developing the idea of satyagraha, the soul
Into
force,
left 6.
and when he
to
was
right 6, 60.
shedding his western suit and
Right
putting
1.
on the monocle,
Into turn left 1
he
past
wasn't
junction.
actually. The battles were not for the indentured labor
And left
or
4.
against colonialism. As I said, the battle was to allow Indian business to expand their
To right
Indian
6,
traders
60.
to expand
Keep
their
right over jump,
home trade.
100.
But
Right 6 over jump,
what I say
tightens
is
to
that
right
you cannot
5.
simulate
Left
poverty.
6.
Poverty is not about having
Right 4 over small
it's
crest,
about
tightens.
having power. And you accumulate.
To caution
But
right 1 down.
everyone knows, I mean, because the Richard Attenborough film is
Into
not
right
less
460.
about Gandhi's Salt March, which
Caution,
was a
keep right over
brilliant
crest.
piece of political strategy.
Into
It was
open
a
hairpin
piece
left.
of political theatre. It was real mass politics.
To right 6.
It was against the salt laws and so on. But 3 years before, Ambedkar led what was known as the Mahad Satyagraha, where
5,
thousands of
4,
untouchables marched
3,
through the town
2,
of Mahad,
1,
asking,
go.
I mean,
Left
going
5 continues to 100 over bump, right 6 bump dip.
denied for all these centuries.
Caution slowing. Into right 5, into hairpin right.
By the British Gandhi was supported that, and
To
the
left 5,
Brahmins here
60,
at the
keep
time
right
were
over
called
crest.
So
Left 6, dip.
when we talk about
Caution right
political
6,
mass
80.
action,
Acute left.
first of all we have to be clear about the radicalness of it. I
Left
mean,
6.
what I talk about in this book is how the
Into
story
right
of the
4 long,
conflict between
60.
Gandhi and Ambedkar actually
Right 3 don't cut.
for
To
Gandhi
left
to
4.
do this rhetoric
Into right 3 times 260. Left 4. To left 4.
Was in a wild
Into acute
panic
right.
about the fact that if the British left, the state would be in the hands of the
Into hairpin left.
and there would be no safeguards. So he crossed the line and he lobbied hard to become part of the drafting committee of the Constitution
six,
to
half
put in
long.
some safeguards. He's very nimble in this way, very brilliant.
Stay mid over crest,
I mean,
past
that does
junction.
mean he left a confused legacy.
Ambedkar was ahead of his time on many, many
Into
things,
right
and
3
I'm
long, keep
thrilled
it.
that this book is getting new
Left 2
attention.
long, dip, crest. Into
You
right
mentioned
5.
that he believed
Into right 2
that
late.
the heart
Turn
of
left 2.
caste was in the control of women.
Into square
And as
right.
people talk about violence against women in the organization, the fight against it. I'd love you to talk about
Left
that.
5 tight.
Well, Ambedkar, as I
right six.
briefly mentioned earlier, he tried to
left
maneuver
six.
himself
right
somehow
six, 60.
into drafting
Right one.
Or being on the drafting committee of the Constitution.
Turn
And
left
then,
one, past
he was a
junction.
very brilliant man. He studied in Columbia, and so he eventually,
Left
despite his quarrels with the Congress Party, he became India's first
Into
lawmaker.
right 660.
And he tried
Keep
to
right over
draft
jump 100.
a Hindu code bill
Right
in
6
which
over jump, tightens right 5.
women were given the right to inheritance, to divorce. He believed that, as you said, the control of women was the key.
Into right 4 over small crest, tightens.
But the parliament was surrounded by
right 1 down.
right, and he was forced to. He actually
right
resigned in
60.
disgust. And it's such a strange thing, that Gandhi should be revered by feminists.
Keep right over
If you
crest.
look at the things Gandhi said and did about women, it is
Into open
beyond,
hairpin left.
yeah,
Into right 6.
I mean, much more and so regressive, and yet he is valorized. And Ambedkar, of course, is unheard of by people outside of India, and these things about him, even in India, people are not aware
5,
of.
4,
You finally are, I
3,
believe, working on
2,
another novel.
1,
After
go.
the tremendous success.
Left 5 continues at 100, just over bump. Right 6, bump dip. Caution slowing. Into right 5, into hairpin right.
I actually am so
To left
keen
5,
to
60, keep right
make
over
the
crest.
space around myself to finish it because
Left
it's
6, dip.
going to get a great deal of pleasure.
Good.
Caution right 6, 80.
No, not that they put
Acute
this
left
down in the
60.
I mean, it's just sometimes I feel like a sedimentary rock. Like I've had so many layers and layers and layers
Left
of,
6.
writing this kind of stuff.
Into right 4, long, 60. Right 3, don't cut.
I feel like it's all.
To left 4.
I myself am curious about what I do right.
To right 3
How
times
it
2, 60.
is
Left 4.
Aren't that
Into
it?
left 4. To acute right. Into hairpin left.
Economic motive is at the center of American war-making empire, the surveillance state. I think it's something like 75 to 80% of the surveillance budget goes to private corporations. So you talk about surveillance spending, it doesn't go
Stay mid over
to
crest past
the NSA,
junction.
it goes to
Left 4.
John Hamilton, all of the different surveillance
Right 3,
corporations,
long, keep in.
especially in the United States. And if
left
you look
2,
at
long,
even
through dip,
the
press.
article 2 days ago, they talked about how
Into right 5.
the stock prices
Into right 1 late. Turn left 2.
Because defense companies, which are weapons manufacturers,
Into square
are
right.
now at an all-time high, Raytheon, General Dynamics, and Boeing, by virtue of the
Left
U.S.
5
bombing
tight.
campaign in Iraq and Syria, which is causing major
Into right
demand
6.
for drones and bombs. Things like the Israeli bombing of Gaza,
Into left 6.
Gaza, which is increasing the market.
right
The
6,
more the U.S.
60.
government engages in
Right 1.
militarism and aggression and violence, the better
Into turn
these
left 1
defense
past junction.
the more surveillance they engage in, the more the surveillance industry makes. They're all in this.
And left 4.
We've done a lot of reporting on spying that was clearly for economic
Into
purposes,
right 6, 60.
spying on economic
Keep
science,
right over jump,
or
100.
petrobras.
Right 6 over
There's
jump,
documents that
tightens
published
to
in
right
the book
5.
where the NSA, hackers within the
Left
NSA,
6.
conducting motives and spying
Right 4 over
diplomatic
small
and political
crest.
power, but also economic advantage. There has been
Right 1
reporting
down.
on spying on the Brazilian Ministry of Mines and Energy by the Canadian surveillance agency.
Into right
Happens to
4,
be
60.
the agency in Brazil of greatest interest to the
Caution,
Canadian
keep right over
Ministry.
crest.
So there's no question that economic
Into open hairpin
advantage
left.
plays a major role in why this
Into right 6.
constructed I'd say the story that ended up being ignored was the very first one that I ever did about the relationship between the NSA and Israel, which is that the NSA turns over enormous amounts of raw, unminimized communications data about American citizens to the Israeli surveillance.
5 continues to 100 over bump. Right 6, bump dip.
Not reporting the story that we
Caution
published.
slowing.
You can't be an American
Into right
citizen
5. It's a
that
hairpin
cares
right.
about the government about focusing on Israel, because just as an economic
To
matter,
left
the
5,
United States
60,
gives
keep
$3
right
billion
over
a
crest.
year of taxpayer money producing weapons to the Israelis. On top of
Left
which,
6,
they give
dip.
enormous amounts of diplomatic and political
Caution
funds.
right
So
6.
everything that Israel
80. Acute left.
neighbors is
60.
essentially controlled by the United States. So my government is responsible for so much of what Israel does in the world. But beyond that, so much of why we are in the Middle East, why we're inextricably involved in the Middle East, is about Israel, but also Israeli aggression towards the people of that region, which is seen quite rightly as American aggression toward the people in that region, plays a major role in why there's high levels of anti-American sentiment, why there's people who want to do violence to America, which in turn is used to justify the endless war there. And so our policy toward Israel is not the only factor.